Welcome back, everybody. So I've had a ton of requests to review this right here. So this is the Springfield Armory Saint Victor, but the 9mm PCC, if you couldn't tell that by that ultra cool Colt pattern stick mag that's coming out of there. But this is probably one of the more requested videos I've had in a while because it seems to be that people really do love them some pistol caliber carbines. Now, if you don't know what a pistol caliber carbine is, it literally is a rifle style system, but it shoots a pistol style round. It could be 9mm, 40, 45, 10mm, whatever, but it does operate slightly differently on the inside here. Instead of having like a gas tube or something and a bolt and carrier group going back and forth, this one is what you'd call a direct blowback system. There are versions that are roller delayed or some form of delayed blowback, but ultimately that's really what it is. So you get benefits like having a stock, a handguard and everything, and being able to run this thing like a rifle, but it's a pistol caliber and you get to save some money on ammunition while still having the same manual of arms. So magazine release works the same as a standard AR, your bolt lock, bolt release, pretty much everything, and then all of your standard AR accessories will go on here, from the rail, the upper receiver, obviously you can see sights, charging handles. There are some differences sometimes in the lowers, but generally a lot of those parts for your standard AR rifle will fit right on a PCC like the Saint Victor right here. When it comes to something like a pistol caliber carbine, there are some really good benefits right up front. One we already talked about was the manual of arms on this one specifically is the same as your standard rifle. So you can get out there and run it a lot cheaper because 9mm ammo specifically is like half the price of 223 or 5.56 right now. So it makes you get out there and train just a little bit cheaper. Another cool thing about these things are it's going to have a little less of that felt recoil than some other rifles out there. So you're not going to have as much of muzzle rise or much explosion going on or fireballs or anything. So if it's a newer or a younger or a less strong end user, sometimes these can be very helpful. Another benefit that you're going to have on these things is that it's going to be much more easy to get out there on the range and shoot this thing than it is, say, a 9mm pistol. If you think about this thing, you're going to have a lot more points of contact. You've got your primary hand on the grip, you've got your offhand out there on the rail, you've got your shoulder, and you've got that cheek weld on there. So you've got a lot more points of contact, which helps you control this thing so much more than having, say, a 9mm pistol out there and you're breathing heavy and all over. So those are just some of the upfront benefits when it comes to a pistol caliber carbine. Before we get into that range performance, we got to give some love to the sponsor, and that's going to be Hidden Hybrid Holsters. They make those sweet suede backed leather and Kydex front holsters so you can comfortably carry around your self-protection piece all day long. All US made, all US sourced, and they are just solid people over there at Hidden Hybrid. If you are looking for something like that, check them out at Hidden Hybrid Holsters. For all the range testing on the Saint Victor PCC, I did it indoors because I filmed all this stuff in the middle of summer. So Scottsdale Gun Club was nice enough to allow me and Jonathan to Tactical Toolbox use their indoor range so we didn't suffer a heat stroke out in the 120-degree Arizona desert, plus most of the desert is closed off in the summertime. So thank you to Scottsdale Gun Club. If you are looking for a really nice, clean, and good place to go send some pets downrange, make sure you check out the Scottsdale Gun Club right there in Scottsdale, Arizona. But when it came to testing this thing, I tested all of the ammunition and stuff that I normally do when it comes to anything like this. 115 grain basic ball, 124 grain, 147 grain, both in hollow points, and regular ball ammunition on all of those types and weights of ammunition. And I also ran some low power ammunition for competition style stuff. All of it ran 100% through that sick looking Colt style magazine right there, which is all metal. It just has a classic, very cool lick to it. Having that 16-inch barrel makes this thing run pretty flat, and that linear comp drives all that muzzle blast forward. So it's pretty calm to shoot out there, even for people off to the left and the right of you. That smoothed out M-LOK rail is not only very comfortable, but allows for plenty of options and space for pretty much anything you want to throw on there, from lasers, lights, bayonets, whatever you want to do. If it's M-LOK, you can get it on there. This one will have factory flip-up sights with it. They are solid. I've had them on a couple of different setups here, and they are pretty good, especially since they come on the rifle. You will have a nice flared mag well on the bottom for those quick magazine exchanges, which is a nice touch. Not every pistol caliber carbine is going to have that. You've got an extended trigger guard in there, which is very nice. B5 furniture, which is some of my absolute favorite. And a flat MP3 coated trigger, which is actually really a very solid trigger, especially when it comes to a mil-spec design. They've just done a great job here with this. So it kind of just breaks. There's very little creep on it right there, but very solid overall. So I dig that trigger and the fact that it is flat face, because I prefer flat face triggers, and I know many of you out there do as well. Now, talking about that trigger, I put it on the gauge and that thing seemed to pull. If you were super low on the trigger, which is where I try to pull the trigger because that's where you get the best kind of fulcrum point, right? Work the leverage. You can get that thing at like 3.5 pounds. If you pull from the center, it was right between like 4.5, 5 pounds. So ultimately, that is really solid for a mil-spec-ish style trigger. Running it out on the range feels right at home because it's got a 45-degree ambidextrous safety in it. The B5 furniture that I love, the manual of arms is the same. So magazine releases, magazine exchanges, dropping the bolt on it. It just feels right at home if you're used to running a standardized AR style rifle. The recoil is very easy to control, and overall the thing just felt great and ran 100% reliably. There are some important specs you're going to want to know about when it comes to the Saint Victor. It's going to be a forged upper and lower receiver. The barrel is going to be 16-inch chrome moly vanadium. That is the good stuff. That's the hardcore machine gun grade steel barrel that you're looking for. It is a direct blowback design, which is extremely well proven out there in the industry and really hard to mess up. So you're probably not going to have a problem with this at all. It comes in just a tad under 7 pounds, which is a little bit heavy for a PCC, but this does have a 16-inch barrel, and those blowback bolts are a little bit bigger. And it does, unfortunately, only come with one magazine. So if you want more than that, you're going to have to buy more, and everyone should want and definitely needs more than one magazine. I always love to say a minimum of 3 magazines, especially when it comes to pistols. But it seems to be when it comes to rifles, I don't know of any manufacturer that sends you any more than 1 magazine. And I'm really curious as to why, because especially in regular ARs, magazines are really cheap these days. You should probably get more than 1. Now for this one, being that all metal Colt style stick magazine, those are a little bit more expensive, so I can almost understand, but I would just love to see 3 magazines as an industry standard for everything out there that you can purchase. And since I know some of you need to see that full spec sheet, here you go. All right, so how about that price, and if you had to make a decision here on a PCC like this Saint Victor. So overall, I really do like the way this thing is equipped. It runs good. It's got my favorite furniture, flip up sights on it from the factory. Great factory trigger. There's a lot of good stuff here. The price point is right at $1,200. I think the cheapest I was able to find it out there online was like $1,150. Now for a pistol caliber carbine like this, I feel that is a little bit expensive. And I know some people love Springfield Armory. Some people are going to say, yeah, but it comes with, you know, the factory flip up sights. It's got a little bit of a better higher end furniture on it than some things. It does have a linear comp, which is pretty cool on it. So compared to other things out there, it is a little bit more expensive. Now, when you get into some of the other stuff like the CMMG Banshees or things that are roller delayed or some form of spring delayed blowback, those things are like 16, 18, 2,500 or 5,000 for H&K style stuff. So it's not overall the most expensive one. I think it is a little bit more expensive than a lot of other ones out there that you can get that will probably run about the same. But again, you are getting a pretty cool package overall, because most of the other ones, you're not going to get the B5 furniture, the better trigger, and the flip up sight. So it really depends on, are those things worth it to you, or would you change all of that stuff anyways? Because if you don't change it and you want it the way it is, it might just be the right value for performance that you've been looking for. As far as the quality and performance of the Saint Victor series, this is my first 9mm PCC from them, but I've had, I think, 4 of the Saint Victor 5.56 guns now, either at events or in my personal possession. I've got thousands of rounds through them. The one that I had for the long time, I had like over 5,000 rounds through it, and it was an absolute tank. So this one appears to be performing the same. So ultimately it should be a very good long-term, very reliable system, just like the other rifles from Springfield Armory that I have tested in the past. So will it perform for you out there? Absolutely. Is it going to be the cheapest one on the market? Heck no. Is it going to look pretty sick with that Colt stick mag? Absolutely. Is it the one for you? I don't know. That's up to you to decide. So let me know if you want to see more PCC content here on the channel, because again, I just don't know where the PCC is at in the modern era with all of our options out there. Make sure you get subscribed to the channel. Keep doing it on the range. Remember, if you stay ready, you ain't got to get ready. I will see you all on the next one.